Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Dream a dream. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Walk in rain. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter. Share a rose. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We've got quite a turnout here. Love is the doctrine of this church. Our faith in each other is its sacrament. Working for justice and living with compassion is its prayer. Reverently, we covenant together to side with love, to heal and not harm, and to share hope with each other and with the world. Welcome. Let us worship together. And now we move into, move into our opening song. Come wherever you are.
Yeah, second opening song, why not? Alrighty, so there's two parts to this song. You can sing whatever you want. I'll teach you the second one. It goes, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. I'll say this down. Your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows. And then the melody comes on top of that. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yeah. Take this melody from me. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows. Let's sing that one more time. So, come yet again, come. That wasn't clear, I'm sorry. We're done. That's it. Thank you.
I'd like now to ask Keller to come up and light our chalice. As we light this flame, we commit to begin again with greater awareness, deeper connection, and more love for ourselves, for one another, and for all of life. Thanks, Keller. We're now going to move into joys and sorrows. Excuse me? Oh, yes, go ahead.
Never mind, I'm on. We have a chalice lit in Pawpaw, as well as our chalice lit here. A chalice in the Greenbrier neighborhood and in the Millwood neighborhood, as well as many others, I am very sure.
People's Church is a welcoming community where we find connection and meaning, where our joys are amplified and our sorrows are lessened. If you would like, please come forward and release a stone into the water in silence or with a brief verbal expression of a particular joy or sorrow. For those attending by Zoom, please express your joy of concern. We've just done that. In the chat box, if you'd like it shared with your church community. For all others who have unspoken joys and concerns, shall add a few more stones. Now let us move into a silent meditation for a few moments. As we approach the time for our offering, give what you will for the church that has meant so much to you, for the church that has meant so much to those who have preceded you, and the church that will mean so much to people who you may never meet. Give what you will, for you are a generous people.
We only need two.
Make channels for the streams of love where they may broadly run, and love has overflowing streams to fill them everyone. Humming along's cool. But if at any time we cease such channels to provide, the very founts of love for us will soon be parched and dried. For we must share if we would keep this gift all else above. We cease to give, we cease to have, such is the law of love.
Please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us, from the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love which none of us can accomplish alone. And now we move into the spirit of life.
Yep, I invite you to do a little bit of a stretch. Find a comfortable singing position where you are seated. Here's our note. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Tim Sparling, who is our speaker for the day.
Can you hear me okay? Can you check 1, 2? Okay, great. And I will project, as Reed says. Welcome to my ADD non-TED Talk titled Changing of the Guard Despite the Peanut Gallery. My name is Tim Sparling, and I have been a People's Church member for over 13 years. I was asked to speak today by the Sunday Services Committee. I did remind John and Matthew Morris McCormick that I am neurodivergent. They both told me that I was in good company. I appreciate your grace ahead of time, however. I, like so many people that attend Peoples, came to this congregation searching for a religious and accepting home for our family. My wife Marty and I were trying to break through the bonds of spiritual trauma suffered as a recovering Catholic, and for my partner escaping under the thumb of the Reformed Christian Church. Around that same time, 15 years ago, I was still working as a hospice nurse, driving from home to facility and visiting with my patients, trying to ease any suffering of their dying processes. I first met a member of this congregation who is dynamic, brilliant, poised, and downright sassy, all through her journey in terminal illness. We will call her Diane. And getting to know Diane for several months before death, she told me about her faith and belief in mysticism and the comfort she found at a small UU congregation called People's Church. At that point, still hearing the word church was like jamming a pencil directly in my ear. And during this period, my partner Marty and I, newly married, were wading into the waters of a more Christian light congregation. We thought the United Church of Christ was fairly liberal as far as Christian congregations went. The choir director was a transgender woman. The time had many gay members and growing families that were kind to us. Ultimately, we left the United Church of Christ because despite those members, they struggled so heartedly with becoming an open and affirming church. Marty and I knew we were allies, very flawed allies, but allies nonetheless that needed education, guidance, and maybe some mentorship in a liberal religion, not to be a part of a congregation that was taking steps backwards. During my months with Diane, I listened to many audiobooks, and I was recently finishing a book from a recommendation who was the pastor. It was a book called A New Kind of Christian by Pastor Brian McLaurin. I was very discouraged because the points in this book were considered radical and liberalized thoughts from an evangelical pastor's perspective. These were nowhere near where my head was at. As a result of these happenings, I did not believe that I would be able to find a loving and accepting congregation. A congregation where I could explore God, the divine and beautiful miracles I had witnessed and experienced in my own life. This was the last straw. So Marty and I decided we needed to further develop our faith if we were to grow as people and as a couple with two very strong-willed personalities. Back to Diane. Diane was open and receptive to hearing my perspective, and she asked a lot of questions. Many times I tried to deflect and defer because I felt like this might have been unprofessional. I stated that I was there to take care of her and not the other way around. Diane often told me that if I was to properly take care of her as the whole person she was, I would need to stop seeing her as a mere diagnosis. I think she delighted in the fact that she could see a spiritual yearning and a stirring in me that she carried until her death. She was to be yet another unexpected spiritual guide in my life. After some time, she actually told me she didn't think that there could be any better legacy to her untimely death than that of leading me to a congregation where I felt at home, and I'm forever grateful. So, as Marty and I landed between these simple stone mortar walls and high-set windows, we came intuitively to understand the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. I can never speak on all 7, obviously, but today I would like to focus on the first and second principles, that of inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. I would like to frame the rest of my time up here by sharing a quote from George Washington Carver. Many of you are probably familiar with this quote already. How far you go in life depends on you being tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the strong, because someday in your life you will have been all of these. My parents are aging and unwell. They have their own respective maladies that have been worsened in large part by political fundamentalism. I will take a moment here as we take a collective and understanding breath and sigh. So, I do, however, have a deep love for my parents. Being an only child, feeling like I was an integral decision-making part of my family even at a young age. Now, as a parent myself, I hold parenting as sacred, confusing, and deeply humbling. The more I have embraced the love we have as a family, the humbler I have become. I learned so much, and I have learned so much from my children and my partner. My father was a Navy captain, a Ford engineer, and a college professor. My mom, an artist, a psychiatric clinical nurse specialist, and a college professor as well. Both of my parents had high expectations for me growing up. There was simply no question of whether I would go to college or obtain higher education. I'd like to pause and say at this time, I'm going to pose a general and rhetorical question. Even to those who don't have children, but are by nature you-ers. And we often find ourselves, like Diane, providing guidance to others. How do we collectively feel about the expression sandwich generation? I certainly am not sure what kind of cuisine one had in mind when coining this phrase. However, I would suggest it feels an awful like eating a shit sandwich. On the parenting side, I know it recently has been difficult to coordinate transportation, meals, housework, and guidance for a teenager and a preteen. Of course, I am biased. I do believe our children, Oliver and Keller, are bright, dynamic, and wonderful. I believe that an overwhelming majority of kids that attend a UU congregation are. because they have the freedom of intellectual curiosity and room for self-discovery that I did not have growing up. I'm grateful to this congregation for allowing us the home to grow and discover who we are as people. In my mind, these are the first 2 UU principles in living color. On July 3rd, some of you may know, Marty told you, that we were in a fairly serious car accident. Fortunately, only sustaining minor bruising and muscle soreness from some pretty bad whiplash. At the moment, I was able to guide my family through a tough time. I've been in 3 other car accidents in my life, 2 of which with my parents, so I had an example from which to follow. I know I was to clear the scene, turn off the car to get to the side of the road and to safety, and to make sure to check each other for injuries. Being a nurse now for over 2 decades mattered only slightly in that situation. It was the guidance from my parents, despite their foibles, which rang true. I heard the voice of my father guiding me through this moment. And because I am a Buddhist UU, I know the sources of light and wisdom are many in this world. Often at work, I hear my mother's voice, reminding me of cautionary tales of traumatized psych patients. She's telling me how to hold my body, how to speak calmly. So in closing, I recognize my current era is that of the sandwich generation, and that this is the moment where I'm experiencing an intense stirring and a need and a want to be more responsible, to attend to those of my children, my parents, my job, my friends, and my community. This, for me, is the changing of the guard, despite comments from the goddamn peanut gallery. With my faith rooted in values as a Buddhist UU, I can dare to take a bite of that sandwich, one small bite at a time. So, at this time, I would like us to reflect and get into small groups. We have about 15 minutes. 2 questions, and they're in your order of service. As UU folks, are we able to grant ourselves any measure of self-compassion when dealing with difficult life changes? If we are, do we give others more grace than ourselves? Second question is, how have you dealt with imposter syndrome when giving others advice when asked? Have you dealt with how have you felt with dealing like you knew enough about the subject you were in, but maybe not enough to speak about it, even though you were actually an expert in that topic? I think we all struggle with self-compassion and feeling imposter syndrome. So I'm wondering if we can talk about those 2 things. Nope. Should we break in groups?
So, please. If you would please break into groups of 3 or 4 to discuss these questions. Go ahead and move your chairs, move yourselves, find your groups, form a little circle, and so we're going to move into singing Blue Boat Home.
All right, once again, find a comfortable singing position in your seats. You can stand too if you want to, that's fine. I'm just not standing today. So, Blue Boat Home, your words are up there. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. My sail and moon, my rudder into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. And then, I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing to the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Now go forth into the world in peace. Be of good courage. Prove all things, and hold fast to that which is good. Blessed be.